Phase 5 is releasing in just a few days, and I'm afraid we have to ask the big question. Are all these new changes setting us up for some disappointment? I mean, I know everybody's buzzing about Blackwing Lair, the new 40-man raid size, all the new mechanics as well. And let's not forget all the excitement around Zul'Gurub either, with the huge rewards for killing a car with all the pre-sup. And the new Thunderhand raid in Silithus, all sorts of epic new rewards for every single class. I know if you're a mage, you're definitely drooling over Stormwrath. Not only does it look amazing, it's like a mini Thunder Fury, but it's also best in slot too. But despite all the hype, the excitement, there are definitely some underlying issues to Phase 5. Much like the heat levels in Molten Core requiring huge gear changes, there are some systems in Phase 5 that are definitely going to cause some major headaches. Let's talk all the concerns players have with Phase 5 and exactly what we can do to fix them. So one of the biggest changes in Phase 5, Blizzard really wanted to challenge players with new affixes in Blackwing Lair. The heat mechanic in Phase 4 was met with some mixed results, so Blizzard went a completely different direction in Phase 5. Instead of the fire resistance mechanics, we have a new NPC called Victor Nephrendius. He's hanging out near the front of the raid, and he offers 5 different affixes you can pick, which he calls trials, which offer additional rewards and challenges. There's the Bronze Trial, which slows down and speeds up time. There's the Red Trial, a healer check. Essentially, you have to heal players above 90% when they get a debuff, or they just keep taking this stacking fire damage. The Green Trial, meanwhile, it puts a slime pool under a player, so they have to run out of the raid so they don't drop it on the whole raid. The Blue Trial randomly affects a player with a giant arcane detonation effect, so they have to have as many players soak it as possible to minimize the damage. Finally, we have the Black Essence mechanic. It adds mechanics to every single boss, things like Drake spawning on Razor Gore. There's also this crazy teleport effect on Broodlord Lashslayer. He teleports and he does this insane fire damage. I'm also very concerned about the Squid Game stop-and-go mechanic. Definitely gonna mess that up a few times. So the idea with the affixes, at least on the PTR, and it is subject to change, is that you pick 3 of the 5 affixes, and if you pick 3 of the 5, you get maximum loot. So picking 5 actually doesn't give you anything extra. Immediately though, a problem crops up. These affixes are not equally difficult and they're not equally interesting either. On paper, the pick 3 affix idea seemed really smart. Imagine you have a guild with, say, a bunch of healers, for example. You could purposely pick the red affix and you're going to deal with that mechanic much more easily. Or if you have a guild with an insane amount of melee, you would definitely want to pick the blue affix because you can easily soak that mechanic and make it much easier. I know retail already has fights where, say, you only bring melee or you only bring range because they're just so much better on that fight. I just thought it'd be a really cool classic idea. Let's say our guild is really strong at healing, your guild's really strong at these other mechanics, and everybody has these different strengths and weaknesses based on the affixes. The thing is, though, that is very unlikely to happen. There's only going to be 3 affixes that anybody ever picks, because there are 2 that are significantly more difficult. Nobody is going to pick the green slime, for example. Imagine you're pugging this raid and you're doing the slime mechanic. People are not paying attention, they're dropping the slime all over the place. It is a no-go. At the same time, though, nobody is picking the black affix. Why would you want to make Razor Gore more difficult? Why would you want to make Veil more difficult? Every single boss significantly harder. Nobody is going to subject themselves to that. It's almost like the pick 3 out of 5 affix system is just a completely false choice. See, imagine you are on a WoW dating site. There is no way you're purposely going to pick a gnome when there are other options. But let's say hypothetically you went on 5 dates every month, and one of those dates just ended up being a gnome. I mean, that wouldn't be so bad, right? So let's talk about the 3 affixes that are way easier and why this is going to lead to some problems. So when we were on the PTR, the immediate affixes that jumped out, the bronze affix, the blue affix, the red affix, these were so much easier than the other 2. The bronze on the PTR, although it might change, literally just sped up and slowed down players. It was incredibly easy to deal with, we didn't even notice it. Meanwhile, the red affix, we really didn't notice that one either. You just bring an extra healer and you're good to go. And the blue affix, you might think, okay, that's pretty challenging. You have to group everybody up to soak the mechanic. But really, most of the time, it goes on the melee stack, it goes on the range stack. Nobody has to move 99% of the time, and it's barely a mechanic. Ultimately, I think it's a really big shame that the Black Essence mechanic, it just wasn't required on the PTR. This is the mechanic that drastically changes the raid. The new add-on Razor Gore, the red light, green light mechanic for the Twin Dragons, a huge nature damage chain on Fire Maw. These mechanics feel like true Classic Plus mechanics, the exact things that the whole player base has been clamoring for the whole time. Except the problem is you're not incentivized, you're not rewarded for even trying this. As of recording this video, and there is still time for this to change, there is no reason to do the Black Essence mechanic. I guess I'm just disappointed because these affixes are so freaking cool, and the Black Essence affix is the coolest of all of them, but never getting to really experience it, it feels like I'm breaking up with the girlfriend I never had. I was expecting to go on Twitch, pull up streams, and they're all doing the Black Essence mechanic. They're shocked when Broodlord teleports around, they're excited by all the new mechanics, but instead we're looking at pretty much the same raid with very minor tweaks. The thing is, there is such a clear solution to fix this affix problem. It's already been done in retail. You just rotate the affixes week by week by week. So 1 week you have the red trial, you have to bring extra healers. 1 week we've got the blue FX, let's bring extra melee, let's bring some greater nature protection potions. Just make that much easier. Or okay, it's the Black Essence this week, we've got to bring extra raiders to make sure we hit all those DPS checks. Hold up, Nefarian's about to die, but I need your help right now. I need you to hit the subscription button and the notification bell, and that way we can meet the DPS check to kill Nefarian once and for all. Come on, man, I can't make that run back again. The reason it's so important we fix this affix system is that Blizzard has admitted it takes a ton of time and resources to make all the new items, to make the new raids. It's just not realistic that we're going to skip through BWL in a month. If we're going to have a 4 month BWL, it just makes sense to give more life to the game, freshen the game up by having the rotating affixes. The problem is right now, if you don't change anything, it's leading to repetitive gameplay. The same bosses every week, the same raiders every week. It's going to lead to burnout. People are just going to end up raid logging. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm crazy, but I really think the rotating affix idea would just be a much better way to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still really pumped for BWL, and there's another raid I'm really excited about in ZG, but I have some concerns there too. If you do the raid the way it's intended, killing every priest, going to Hekar, it kind of feels like an Uber's run. The 10-man aspect of the raid, the fact that so much of the gear is just catch-up gear, it feels like, yes, this is going to be a really fun raid, but if you remember it from back in 2019, it's not going to be that same experience. It's much more of this catch-up dungeon. Blizzard knew that though, and that's why they went with this whole idea of you skip the priest, you rush a car, you're going to get bonus loot. Either you're going in for this relaxing, fun Ubers, or you're going in for literally one of the hardest fights in the entire phase. I'm just a little bit worried about this all-or-nothing approach, where pretty much every group is going to want to do 4 priests a car. Really though, only a few guilds are going to be good enough to do it that way, and it almost feels like Blizzard is kind of setting people up for failure. So Phase 5 went the adjusted difficulty route for ZG, but they also went the same direction with BWL with the 5 affixes. Pick 3 affixes for max loot, ignore the other 2. Unfortunately, you're ignoring the Black Essence affix, which is the coolest by far. Let me know in the comments how you would fix the affix system. I would love to hear from you. To alleviate some Phase 5 concerns though, click on my prep video next to get insanely prepared.